Friendly greetings. I sometimes get asked if you can change the default texture when building. The answer is yes and no. Let me show you why. So the first time you create a cube or any sort of new prim, it will res with this plywood texture. You likely have seen this, and unfortunately this texture is actually set in the sim code. So there's no way to change it within the viewer. It's server side, so to speak. But there is a workaround that you can do. It's not as good as resing objects from new. And thank you very much to Cortez Slade for reminding me of this. I wanted to get around and do a video tutorial. What you need to do is go to the advanced menu and then head to debug settings. Because right when you're here, you can type in default object texture. Let me move this up. It auto-completes and you get a texture UUID or key here. So what to do with this is you delete this because this is for the plywood texture. It looks like a long string of numbers and letters. It's unique. Every texture has its own key. So you can go to inventory and you're going to find that you're going to need a texture which is fully permissive. So let me look for one of my placeholders, which are right here, by the way. And go to inventory, search for placeholder, and they're right here on here island. And then I can copy it by right-clicking and copy the asset UUID. Of course, if you want to view this first, let's see what we're getting ourselves into. Double-click to open the texture. And it's right popped up here. Okay. It's going to res and get clearer. So this is going to be what happens when right-click and copy asset UUID. And go back here and Control-V to paste it in, or File menu and paste. But you know how I am with the keyboard shortcuts. Go for them. And here we are. If anytime you want to reset, you can do that. But go ahead and close that. Now let's relog. Logging in nice and freshly. We're going to end up right on here. Torley's Island of Enlightenment. You're welcome to visit. Be sure to see my tour tutorial on that if you haven't yet. That's where I first thought about this with the placeholders, because these are meant to be kind of like defaults. They are meant to replace the plywood one with something more pleasing. So now that we have this, we can easily right-click and edit it. And in the texture tab, when we go to select a texture, now when we click default, normally it'd be this plywood one, but instead it will show and automatically select the one we had earlier. So while this isn't a total solution, it is easier than having to first say, type and search for that texture you always want to have. And it's easier even, let me just cancel that, if I have larger units, like if I clone and make copies and have a lot of textures and I have them all selected. And now this isn't a very good job of doing this, but as an example, click texture gain and you can just default them all and then select, and here they are. I'm sure you're going to find your own uses with this, hopefully being the brilliant builder, whether you're budding or expert that you are. Remember, come here to get a set of free placeholder textures.